Good afternoon, students. Myself is K. Pradeep Kumar, working as Assistant Professor in Mechanical Department, MER College of Engineering and Technology. See, today in this lecture, we are going to know about the fuel supply system in diesel power plants and as well as advantages and disadvantages of diesel power plant. Coming to the first topic about fuel supply system, how we are going to supply fuel into the engine system, and by using of this fuel supply system how we are going to do combustion, and after combustion what are the hot gases generating, and by using of the hot gases how we are going to produce the how we are going to convert the feed water into the super saturated steam or saturated steam. See, coming to here, we can observe here the 4-stroke cycle diesel engine. We already in the previous classes we have already studied about the 4-stroke cycle diesel engine, and again once again I am remembering you about the 4-stroke cycle diesel engine, how it works. See here, intake process, we are having 4 processes in 4-stroke cycle diesel engine. That the first process is about suction or intake process, second one is nothing but of compression, third one is nothing but of power, and fourth one is nothing but of exhaust. See here, in 4-stroke cycle diesel engine, the first intake means nothing but of how we are taking the air inside of the engine cylinder. That when we are, how we are going to take here air inside, the left side valve has opened. When the left side valve has been opened, the air is going to be entered inside the engine cylinder. At the time, the right side cylinder, with right side one which we are having here is closed. The inlet valve here, the inlet valve means at the left side valve is open and the right side valve is closed here. When the left side valve has been opened, the air is going to be entered into the engine cylinder, means the air is going to be sucked into the engine cylinder for compression process. See here, and coming to the compression process after intake of the air in the engine cylinder, see here the injection combustion process is going to be takes place here. See here the combustion has been takes place here, that by using of the fuel injector we can observe here the fuel injector. See here, after entering of the air and atomization of the fuel here, the combustion is going to be takes place. See here, the compression is going to be done in the engine cylinder. At that time, the inlet valve as well as outlet valve, both the valves are going to be closed here, are in the closed position. And coming, this is what about the compression process. After closing of these two valves, the compression has been takes place inside the engine cylinder. And coming to the power stroke, after the completion of the compression, at the end of the compression, see here, by using of this fuel injector, the fuel is injected into the engine cylinder. When the fuel has been injected, some ignition is going to be takes place by using of this fuel injector. This is what about the 4-stroke cycle diesel engine. Coming to the comparison of both the 4-stroke cycle and this two-stroke cycle. See here, in the 2-stroke cycle we are using spark ignition, whereas in the diesel engines or CA engines we are using fuel injectors for combustion process. See, coming to here, at last after completing of the combustion process and generating of the power, see here the hot gases which are produced in the engine cylinder are going to be exhausted outside into the atmosphere. Means at the time the inlet valve is closed and the exhaust valve is going to be open. We can observe here in the diagram itself that the inlet valve is closed and the exhaust valve is open. Then the hot gases which are produced or developed in the combustion after combustion process is going to be delivered outside or exhausted into the atmosphere. This is what about the 4-stroke cycle diesel engine which we have studied in the previous classes. See here, that the inlet valve opens. When the inlet valve is going to open, the air is sucked into the engine cylinder. And coming to the second one, compression has been done here. The air is compressed in the engine cylinder, and after that, by using of this fuel injector, the fuel is injected into the engine cylinder. When the fuel is going to be injected, the power is going to be generated here. And after that, after the complete combustion has been takes place in the engine cylinder, what are the exhaust gases produced there is going to be exhausted into the atmosphere by using of this, that the outlet valve opens and the inlet valve is closed. See, when the power is going to be generated, both the valves are closed, and when the compression also takes place, both the valves are in closed position. And when the inlet has been opened, air is entered, and when outlet is opened, the hot gases which has been produced in the combustion chamber are exhausted into the atmosphere. This is what about the four-stroke cycle diesel engine, and we can study about the fuel supply system in the diesel power plant. See here, in CA engine, the air from compression entered to the engine cylinder, which I have shown you in the diagram, how the air is going to be entered into the engine cylinder through intake manifold or air passages and compressed to high pressure in the cylinder. You can observe here how the air is entered into the cylinder and how it has been compressed here. And coming to this point, just near the end of compression stroke, liquid fuel is injected into the combustion chamber and ignited due to high temperature of compressor. See here, after compression, the air is compressed to a high and gets high pressure temperature, high pressure, and it is going to, due to this high pressure, the fuel is going to be ignited to a high temperature of this compressed air. Therefore, the CA engines require fuel injection system to inject the required quantity of fuel into the combustion, so that for getting the combustion or for ignition, after compression of this compressed air, therefore we require this fuel injection to inject the required quantity of fuel into the combustion chamber. For entering into the combustion chamber, the fuel, we need the fuel injection system. This is what about the CA engine diesel engine system. And coming to here, we are having some requirements of an injection system. For injecting the fuel into the engine cylinder, we are having some requirements that the engine performance depends on proper functioning of injection system. The injection system must be able to meter the small amounts of fuel accurately. See, we need to give the small amounts of fuel into the fuel injector. Means atomization should be done. That means from the fuel injector, it is going to be into a small find into a small particles, that the fuel which has been entered into the fuel injector does not enters fully into the engine cylinder, but it enters in a fine small particles in a spray formation into the engine cylinder. See here, inject the fuel into the combustion chamber at proper rate, proper time. So at whatever the time the fuel is required into the combustion chamber for combustioning process, the fuel at the proper time, we need to send the fuel into the combustion chamber at proper time for combustioning purpose. See at the control the rate of fuel injection, we need to control the rate of fuel injection here, and atomize and distribute the fuel in desired areas of combustion area. Atomization means nothing but of converting into small, means into small fine particles. We are converting or splitting the oil into small particles and sprayed into the engine cylinder. These are the some of the 5 points, 4 points for the requirements of an injection system. See, we are having different types of injection system. Coming to the injection system, first injection system is nothing but of air injection system, and second one is nothing but of airless or solid injection system. See, coming to the air injection system, the liquid fuel is atomized and injected into the engine cylinder. See here, the liquid fuel is atomized, means converting into small particles, and injected into the engine cylinder by means of compressed air. See, by using of the compressed air, we are sending the fuel after the atomization into the engine cylinder about 7 MPa. See, coming to the advantages of air injection system, the good mixing and distribution of air with fuel which results high mean effective pressure. See, what is the air which has been entered into the engine cylinder, and after entering the air, after taking some compression process, by using of the fuel injector, we are pumping or atomizing the fuel into the engine cylinder. Good mixing means both the air and fuel should be mixed and distributed into the engine cylinder gets high mean effective pressure here. Fuels with a high viscosity can be utilized for this injection system, air injection system. Its main disadvantage is that it requires multi-stage air compressor, causes multi-stage air compressor. See here, which causes increase in engine weight and reduce the net power output. This is the disadvantage that it requires a multi-stage air compressor for increasing the weight and reduce the network output. This is the one of the disadvantage of the air fuel system. And coming to the airless or soil injection system, in solid or airless injection system, the fuel is injected with fuel injection pump. But here we are using the fuel pump for pumping the atomization into the engine cylinder at a pressure of 15 to 30 MPa. This system is commonly used in all CI engines. Compared to the air injection system, the solid injection systems are going to be used in all internal combustion engines, in diesel engines. This system is simple in design and no separate air compressor is required. See here, for solid injection system, there should not be any air compressor. Why? Because means the design and separate air compression, and no separate air compression has not been required here. The main advantage is that a high accuracy is needed between fuel injector plunger and fuel pump barrel. Here we need that high fuel injector plunger and fuel pump barrel in solid injection system. This is what about the airless or solid injection system. And coming to the fuel supply system, see, these are the some of the components which we required for completing the working principle of fuel supply system. That we need fuel tank, fuel feed pump, we need fuel feed pump as well as filter, and we need injection pump and injector. These are the some of the components which is required for layout of solid injection system. See here, we can observe the diagram here, that we are having the fuel tank which I have said you in the components, that and we need the fuel feed pump here, and we here we are using the filter, and here we are using the injection pump, and here we are using the injector, fuel injector. See here, the from the fuel tank, we are going to send the fuel into the fuel feed pump, means which is feeding into the engine cylinder the fuel. See here, from the fuel tank, see, by using of different trucks or cars, we are going to unload the fuel from different areas, and we are unloading here in the fuel tank. From the fuel tank, it directly enters into the fuel feed pump, where this feed pump is used to feed the water or the fuel into the filter. See here, in the filter, it filters the dust particles and cleans the fuel, and see, the impurities which are there in the diesel fuel is cleaned and is sent into the fuel injection pump after filtration process. See here, in the fuel injection pump, by using of this fuel injection pump, here the fuel is atomized, and it is sent in, means nothing but of which has been mm, broken into small particles and has been sent into the means fuel injection pump. By using of this pump only, we are going to send these into the fuel injector. The fuel is sent into the fuel injector. Here in the fuel injector, it is atomized, it means breaking into small particles of fuel, and it is going to be sent into the engine cylinder for working process. This is what about the fuel injection system of CA engine working principle. Once again, I will explain you about the working principle of fuel injection system of CA engine. That from the fuel tank, the fuel is entered into the fuel feed pump, where here some pressure has been created. Pressure is generated here. Somewhat initial pressure has been generated here, and with that pressure, it fuel is entered into the filter, and after filtration process, it is going to be entered into the fuel injection pump. Here in the fuel injection pump, the pressure has been increased here, and it is by using of this pump, the fuel is entered into the fuel injector, and in the fuel injector, the fuel is atomized into small fine particles, and the fuel is at last sent into the engine cylinder for working process. This is what about the fuel injection system of CA engine, which we can observe here. And on the operation, what I have said you here in the diagram is I am going to tell you in the point wise that during the operation, the fuel from the fuel tanks enter the fuel feed pump, which I have shown you here, that the fuel is entered from fuel tank to the fuel feed pump. See here in feed pump, the pressure of fuel is raised slightly. Here in the fuel feed pump, the pressure of fuel is raised slightly, and then the fuel is drawn into the filter where all the dust particles are removed. And after that, after increasing somewhat, the pressure has been raised, the fuel is entered into the filter, and where the dust particles are removed in this filter. From the filter, the fuel enters into the injection pump where the pressure of fuel is increased. See here, after that filtration of the fuel is entered into the fuel injection pump. Here the fuel is increased, the pressure of the fuel is increased here above the pressure of air in the cylinder. See here, we are having some air in the engine cylinder. The pressure, what the pressure which we have got raised here in the fuel injection pump is more than that of the air pressure inside the engine cylinder. Engines at the end of the compression. See, and this high pressure fuel is sprayed into the engine cylinder by means of fuel injector. See here, by using of the fuel injector, we are going to inject the fuel into the engine cylinder. See here, and any spill overflow in the injector is returned to the fuel. See here, what is the fuel which has been entered here? If there is any overflow of this fuel, it is going to return back to the fuel tank. See here, we can observe here is returned back to the filter. This is what about the fuel injection system of CA engines. And coming to the classification of solid injection system, the solid injection system has classified into 4 types as individual pump and injection system, unit injection system, common rail system, and distributor system. These are the 4 solid injection systems which we are using in diesel power plants. See here, coming to here, we can observe the diagrams here about these 4 individual pump and injection system, unit injection system, common rail system, and distributor system. We can observe the diagram that individual pump and injection system. In this system, see here, I indicates here where we can observe the I symbol. I indicates the injector. See, HDP means high pressure pump. See here, we can observe the high pressure pumps. And LPP means nothing but of low pressure pumps. See, somewhere we are using LPP pump. LPP means nothing but of low pressure pumps. C means nothing, C represents cylinder. See here, D means nothing but of a distributor. These are some of the components which we are using here in the solid injection system. See here, in the individual pump injection system, in the name itself, we can observe that individual means single. Here we can observe For every cylinder, this is the cylinder, these are the two cylinders. For each cylinder they are having separate high pressure pumps. See here, we can observe for these cylinder we are having the separate high pressure pump, and for the second cylinder we are having the separate high pressure pump. Means individual pumps are there for the each cylinder, and by using of different high pressure pumps, we are going to send the fuel, or we are going to inject the fuel into the fuel injectors. From the fuel injectors, the fuel is going to be injected into the engine cylinder. This is what the cylinder, how we are going to pump the fuel. See here, we can observe that fuel, the fuel is going to be entered into the low, is entered with the low pressure pump. See, enters into the engine cylinder with low pressure pump. From the low pressure pump, it is going to be entered into the both high pressure pumps, and the high pressure pump has been sent the fuel, is going to send the fuel into the first fuel injector, and the fuel again is going to be sent from high pressure pump, second pump to the engine fuel injector. From the fuel injectors, after atomization, the fuel is going to be entered into the both the engine cylinders. This is what about the individual pump and injection system. And coming to the unit injection system, means we are having two cylinders, but having two units. That unit injection system means we can observe here high pressure pumps and high pressure pump. Unit means nothing but of, here we can observe the fuel injector is here and high pressure pump is here. But coming to here, the high pressure pump as well as fuel injector pump are at the same place. Means we are considering the cylinder, the fuel injector and high pressure pump as unit. Means this is one unit and this is the other unit. Means we are sending the fuel with low pressure pump to the first unit injection system, and after that to the other unit system. We are dividing these into two unit systems. See that comparing with this individual pump system, we can observe that the high pressure pump is here, and coming to here, the high pressure pump is going to be at the fuel, above the fuel injector pump. Means we are considering the high pressure pump, the fuel injector and the cylinder as unit here. We are considering here. See here, we can observe the process that fuel is entering into the low pressure pump. From the low pressure pump, it is going to sent into the high pressure, first high pressure pump, then to the second high pressure pump. Means nothing but of two injection systems. This is what about the unit injection system. And coming to here, the third one is nothing but of common rail system. See here, common rail system. Here we can observe the common rail system, how it is. The fuel same as that of individual pump and unit injection system. The fuel is sent into the low pressure pump. From the low pressure pump, it is sent into the high pressure pump. See here, comparing with the individual pump and unit injection system, we are having here, we are having two high pressure pumps, but coming to the common rail system, we are having only a single high pressure pump. See, from the fuel from the low pressure pump is sent into the high pressure pump. See, the high pressure pump sends the fuel into the first fuel injector system, then again to the second fuel injector system. From the fuel injector system, it is entered, the fuel is entered into the first cylinder, and after that the fuel is forwards into the second fuel injector system, and after that the fuel is entered into the second cylinder. Here common rail system means nothing but of, by using of a single high pressure pump, we are sending the fuel into both the cylinders by using of fuel injectors here. This is what about the common rail system. And coming to here, the distributor system. See here, in the distributor system, how we are going to distribute the fuel here, that same as that of individual pump, unit system and common rail system. See here, in the distribution system also, we are sending the fuel from the low pressure pump to the high pressure pump. from the high pressure pump, it is sent into the distributor system. See here, we can observe that here the fuel is sent from high pressure pump to the directly into the first fuel injector, and thereafter the fuel is sent into the second fuel injector system. But coming to here to the distribution system, the fuel is entered into the high pressure pump, whereas from the high pressure pump it is directly enters into the distributor system. This distributor system is going to distribute the fuel into two systems. Means first it is going to distribute the oil into the first engine cylinder, and after that it is going to distribute the oil into the second engine cylinder. See here, it is going to distribute the fuel into the first engine cylinder by using of the fuel injector, and by using of the distributor it is going to be distribute the fuel again into the second engine cylinder by using of the fuel injector pump, and from the fuel injector pump the fuel is pumped into the engine cylinder. This is what about the distributor system, how it has, how we can observe here the classification of solid injection system, that individual pump how it works, and how the unit injection system working, and common rail system working, and distributor system working. This is what about the classifications of solid injection system which we can observe here in these diagrams. And coming to one by one, I have written some points here that about the individual pump and injection system. In this system, the pump and injector are designed as separate units, and each cylinder is provided with a separate pump. See here, each cylinder is separated with a separate pumps, which we can observe in the diagrams, and the separate units are there. The pump is located on the cylindrical block, and high pressure fuel is fed into the fuel injector, where I have said you here in the diagram that here high pressure has been developed in the fuel injection pump, and this high pressure fuel is sent into the fuel injector. See that we have written here that the pump is located on the cylindrical block, and high pressure fuel is fed into the injector located on the engine cylinder through high pressure fuel pipe. And coming to the unit injection system, in this system the pump and injector are combined in one unit and mounted on the cylinder. We can observe here pump and cylinder are combined in one unit and mounted on the cylinder. We can observe here in the diagram. And each cylinder is provided with a combined unit. Coming to the unit injection system. And about the common rail system, in this system high pressure pump supplies the fuel to common rail, and the injector located on different cylinders are connected to the common rail. See, by common rail, here we are using, by using of the common rail we are going to distribute by using of the high pressure pump here. And coming to the unit injection system, in this system the pump and injector are combined in one unit and mounted on the cylinder. See here, we can observe by using of the distributor pump how the fuel is sent into both the units. See here, individual pump and injector system and unit injection system are commonly used for diesel engines. This is what about the classifications of solid injection system. And coming to here, the advantages of diesel power plants are nothing but of very simple in design, or for installation these diesel power plants are very simple in design, and for installation also it is very simple, and limited cooling water is required here, and standby losses are less as compared to the other power plants. Losses are also very less when compared with the other power plants. Here the low fuel cost also is low, and quickly started and put on load, and the diesel, by using of this diesel and diesel power plant, smaller storage is needed for the fuel, and is going to be quickly started here. And layout of power plant is quite simple. What I have shown you in the diagram, the layout is of very simple. This is what about the diesel power plants advantages. And coming to the, see here we are having some more advantages, that there is no problem of ash handling. See here, there is no any problem of ash handling. Less supervision is required. For a small capacity, diesel power plant is more efficient as compared to steam power plant. They can respond to varying loads without any difficulty. Without any difficulty, they can respond. See, these are some of the advantages of diesel power plants when compared with the other power plants. And coming to, we are having some disadvantages of, as and comparing with the advantages, we are having some disadvantages also in diesel power plants, that high maintenance and operating cost is very much, and fuel cost is more, since in India diesel is costly and is used very well. The plant cost per kilowatt is comparatively more. The life of diesel power plant is small due to high maintenance. For high maintenance purpose, the diesel power plant life is very more. And noise is a serious problem in diesel power plant, means it creates a heavy noise in diesel power plants. Diesel power plant cannot be constructed for large scales. See, these diesel power plants cannot be used for large scale industries. These are the some of the disadvantages of diesel power plants. This is what we have studied in this unit about the fuel supply system and advantages and disadvantages of these diesel power plant. See, if you are having any doubts, please call me or mail to the mail ID which I have given you. Thank you.